go clear. Clear, slide forward. Pull trigger hand, hold straight.
All right, we are recording today without the microphone, so I don't know what happened to it. It sits on a stand in here, and I've knocked it over like 10 times, so it's probably just broken. But I recorded this whole thing earlier in the week, and it recorded zero sound. And that wasn't just bad; it was just nothing. So didn't work out. But the 2025 IDPA National Championship is over. The scores are in, and it ended up pretty much the way that I thought it was going to. In terms of who was on top of divisions and that sort of thing. So let's take a look at a few more stages. I'm not going to show you all of them. I put the video up with all the stages already. If you want to see all the stages, it's under the match video section. But I do want to talk about the match. I don't have like a full review here, but just a few pros and cons to talk about the match, a few takeaways, and just my opinion. So let's take a look at a few more stages, and yeah, we'll be back with the rest. All right, so those are just a couple of my favorite stages from the match. I got a couple more to show you, but before we do that, let's check out the score. So, wrote it all down. Coming in first in Bug, the one true division, Aaron Rags Ragusa. Well done, buddy. Getting the bump to Distinguished Master. So, if you're not aware, when you win a division at Nationals, you get a promotion to Distinguished Master. Or if you come within 3% of the division champion, you also get a promotion to Distinguished Master. That will come in important. That will be important as we continue talking. But well done, Aaron. You shot a good match in Bug. Shot Bug the way that it ought to be shot, and took the top spot. Newcomer that I don't know that I've ever seen the second place guy before. Maybe I have and I've just forgotten, but Brett Newcomb coming in second place in Bug and also getting the promotion to Distinguished Master. So well done, Brett. CO, no surprise here. He's been taking most CO matches all year. Austin Prue, proven that he can do it with a dot and as well as in CCP. We all know he's done it in CCP, but getting the promotion to Distinguished Master in CO. Well done, buddy. I talked to him and asked him, hey, what's next? What are you gonna move on to? I don't know, PCC or something? And he's like, nah, I think he's gonna stay around in CO and see how that goes. So well done there. Second place was Gordon Yee. It would have been a promotion to Distinguished Master, I believe, if not for Gordon is already a Distinguished Master. So well done, Gordon, taking in second place there. I also shot Carry Optics. I shot it with my 26X. You've probably seen me talking about that or seen that video. But I came in 11th place master. So 3 DMs subtracted out of there from 14th to 11th for 11th place master. So not too shabby for me. I was happy with that. I was happy with literally every trigger pull of that match except one. So on the strong hand only stage, you guys remember. So you here, reload here, and then the head box that was like 2 feet from my face, just underneath of it was the non-threat, and I pulled it right down into the just breaking the perf of the non-threat. So one trigger pull. That's a good I don't know, step up for me. Is that like, is usually there's a whole stage or 2 or 3 stages that I'm like, oh man, I'd like to have that one back. But there were a couple places where I didn't shoot as aggressively as I think I probably could have. Sometimes you're like, oh, this doesn't play to my strengths. So I'm kind of playing defense here, and maybe I gotta quit doing that. I don't know, but anyway, I was happy with how that ended. Okay, CCP coming on top. Zach Mitchell, was not surprised to see that. Been watching him all year. Well done, Zach. getting the match bump to Distinguished Master. So Jared Miller, last year's bug winner, also in CCP, getting the bump to Distinguished Master. So 2 DMs in both bug and CCP. This might be the most DMingest nationals that we've ever had. That'd be an interesting stat to find out. I know that Eric France is he's got the most division championships in nationals, most DMs. But what year did we give out the most DMs? I don't know. It might be this one. ESP with Jonathan Miller. I don't think I've ever met Jonathan, but well done there. SSP, no surprise to anybody. Nils Jonathan doing it with the Canic Prime, but with the not ported barrel. That's what that is. So well done there. IDPA, I think we should probably take a look at that. If the pros like Nils is gonna shoot his carry gun in IDPA and his big gun, I'm certain that he went from shooting his carry gun in IDPA over to IPSC Worlds, where he's shooting his big gun. So like big guns in other sports, little guns in IDPA. That's what we ought to be doing. Anyway, off that soapbox. PCC was Matt Hall. I believe that's a promotion to Distinguished Master for him. And right behind him was my traveling buddy, Sydney Ballard. So well done there also. Revolver with a pretty commanding win was JD Tippett. I think we've said that name here before. Not certain, but well done there. So I believe that is everything. So let's take a look at a few more stages. The last couple of stages that I liked more than this, but the last couple that I'm going to show you. If you want to see all of them, check out the playlist, the match playlist with all of them. But let's take a look at a few more, and we'll come back with a few pros and cons about the match. All right, so those are the stages that I think. There's 6 of them. There are 14. Those are just the stages that I thought like, oh, these are the ones that I liked the most. So there were some. I mean, any match is going to be some that I like better, or anybody that you like better than others. But those are the ones I liked. So pros and cons of the match, real quick. The pros, everything ran like very well. I mean, like, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. It's weird when pros are also kind of cons and cons are pros, but the match ran very well. So there was, on the day that we watched the match, which was like Thursday, so we were watching the all-day competitors. It was like 2:30 and everyone was done. I don't know that I've seen that before. Having shot nationals in the one-day format at least 2 times, we're usually there all day, and it's like, man, you're dragging ass by the end of the day. So I think that overall, I mean, it's tough to know, like, based on the stages, like, how long is this going to take or whatever. But I think that we weren't ready to, when we were a 2-day squad, but we were kind of like ready to go and keep going. So I think the whole thing could have been a 2-day match, but I just to have the ability to stop and start again and rest, I think it shoot better that way. So no problem there. The side matches, I thought that was cool, and it was fun, and they were free. So, blasting through Beretta or Wilson Combat's ammo is fun, and then they get the benefit of, getting their guns into people's hands and trying them out. So, all good there. I thought that was a cool addition to the match. All the amenities that I could need, like food or water or like medical care, if somebody needed that was all taken care of. So that went well. I didn't hear about anybody, falling out. The heat was, it wasn't too bad. I think on Thursday was the worst, but on Friday, the day that I shot 9 stages, like most of the day was cloud cover, so it was almost perfect. The banquet, everything went well. The food was good. I know Sydney got like I don't know if his was like under the heat lamp too long or something, but his was a little chewy. But mine was good. The venue was good. I was a little bit like pulling up. I was like, man, is this just in a hotel? But once you got in there, like the banquet hall was beautiful, and it was a great place to have it. And everything went well there. Sometimes that can go, longer than people want to stick around, but I thought it went well. The lady in the I think she was part of the hotel, but she was like in a blue cowboy outfit singing country songs in the bar. Like I thought she was great. So yeah, that was awesome. The SOs, in past years, I'm not dogging on anybody from past years, but like I've had years where it's like, man, every squad or every bay I go to, there's one of these people was a little bit overly serious or just kind of a hard ass. But I think I really only ran into that like one time here. So I don't know, maybe I'm just caught them all on a good day, but I'd like to think that we just got a bunch of good folks. So thank you to everybody who worked the match. So cons. And then I don't even want to say cons, I guess, but like some things that I think could have been improved or can be improved for next year. The stages overall, I didn't think they were. I just didn't think they were like a national level caliber of stages. I'm not saying that like we have to have pneumatic devices. That I think that the pushback or the reason that these were a little bit more simple than years past is that they've had to throw out stages in the last couple because some of those presentations with those wonky devices just wasn't giving everybody the same thing. So I think that this was a reaction to that. And the idea to, there's something in the matchbook about like, oh, we want these to be able to be set up at local matches, and that's fine. But for my opinion, nationals should be the hardest match of the year. And like, I'm not saying that it should be so hard that like, a marksman or a sharpshooter or anybody couldn't get through it or couldn't do it. But it should be the hardest match of the year. Like that's what we come here for. That's what we put in all the matches to get points to come to, is that we want to be challenged and we want to see, how we stack up at the hardest match of the year against the best in our division. So I just sort of disagree with the this should be a match that stages can be used at locals. Like you can have a few that are that way, but overall, this should be the most difficult match of the year. Okay, so like I said before, everything ran incredibly well. However, in some instances, we can, if we start getting too focused on this needs to go faster, we need to move, we need to get people through, and we need to get them on the cattle car and get them out of here. We start negatively impacting the shooter experience. And as my friend Brian Bowler likes to say, we're not shooting, we're selling entertainment here when we put on matches. That's what we're doing. So like it has to be fun, and I don't like, so my personal experience, when we got to day 2, everybody was there early because everybody's ready to go, everybody wants to get done. So I don't even have my gun on yet, I don't have my gear on yet, and the the matchbook says we're going to start at 11:30, and the SOs stand up at 10:45 and go, all right, well, you're all here, so let's do your walkthrough and get going. And I'm the first shooter and I got nothing on, so I got to scramble to get my gun on. And someone's wife who was there was kind enough to help me load my magazines and get ready. And I didn't have a big dumpster fire on the stage or anything. So it all turned out okay. But the potential for that to go very poorly is definitely there. And like, I don't know, maybe that happened to somebody, maybe it happened to you. Because I think everybody started early. So yeah, I just think that if the matchbook says we're going to start at 11:30, we start at 11:30. I mean, we don't have to be so focused on getting everybody through that we negatively impact the experience of the match. And kind of going along with that, I didn't like since this match is flowing better, we're going to shoot 9 stages today and just 5 tomorrow, or whatever the breakdown was. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 9 and 5. But either way, we put in a ton of work to go to a bunch of matches so that we can have a split day. And I know that 9 and 5 is a split day, but that the whole point is that I want to do half the match now and half the match tomorrow, and I want to rest in between. So like changing that dynamic because of match flow, I just find that inappropriate. So these aren't like I said, this is not the end of the world. But if we, like I said, when we focus on too much on efficiency with the administration of the match, we end up losing shooter experience, which is the wrong place to give up something. I'm going to mention this just because everybody seems to have a comment to say about it, but the pasters, so 2 things with the pasters. One, they didn't match the color of the target at all, which I thought was strange. They had some that did and some that didn't. And the ones that did were, I can't remember who's making them, but they're like the ones that have the sticky side is black. So that if you're like shooting and the sun's coming through the target, you're not seeing like this, if it's just the clear regular paster, you can kind of see the holes when the sun's hitting on the back of it. But these black ones stop that. So we had a bunch of those, and that was good. And the brown part matches the color of the target. But then they have these like really bright, kind of like really light brown color that didn't match the target at all. And then the second thing with pasters is apparently staff or somebody was going around and like putting pasters on non-threats that weren't hit there. That was like no hit. Just putting pasters on non-threat to like draw your attention to the non-threat or onto the target behind it where people are not shooting it, which is just weird. I mean, I don't think that I didn't notice it in the match, so it didn't affect me. But if you're doing that to like throw people off to hit the non-threat, like, come on, man, that's just kind of childish. And it's not very equitable for the game. Like here's what we're doing with the game. Here's the non-threat. Here's the target. Shoot the target. Don't hit the non-threat. To draw people towards one or the other is just kind of silly. So anyway, I thought I had a great time with the national match this year. Despite the few hiccups I mentioned, it was a great match. And I had a great time on and off the range, hanging out with the boys. So definitely going to go back next year. I was a little bit, I don't know. They're doing the 30th anniversary thing in Cardinal, and I've never been to Cardinal, but from everybody who's told me about the range, it's pretty much you don't have 180-degree bays. They've got like cement blocks on the sides, so it's kind of more difficult to work stages in there or into those bays. So I don't know, maybe there's enough that we don't have to do that. There's some that have, our full bays. I hope so. But I hope that IDPA will think about bringing, I think 27 is the world championship, bringing it back to Texas, because Texas was it's just a great venue. So Mission 160 range down there, can't say enough about that place. I think it's great. So if we could do that, that'd be awesome. Another big pro that I forgot. One stage per bay. We should be doing that all the time. So excellent work doing that. I think that if anything, in addition to the staff pushing everybody to get through quick, I think that this went faster because we had one stage per bay. So hopefully we'll continue that going forward. So yeah, that's it. That's 2025. It's all over. The season is pretty much over. We've got one more major, the Rocky Mountain. Nope. The Western Washington Regional, which is approved for bug optics. If you're around and you want to go, registration is closed. It's on October 18th, but if you really want to go, let me know. I can probably get you in. I know the match director. And yeah, we've got a few things set up for this year, or for this off season. 365 Lux. I'm going to be shooting that. I got a Glock 49. I'm going to do a review on that. I've been shooting that. It's like a 26, but really bigger. So the 380 thing, we're going to compare that to the Bodyguard 2, Nick and I. A Springfield Pro. I've always wanted to try the Springfield Hellcat, so we're going to try that. So stay tuned for more of that kind of stuff. And we'll see you on the next one.